morning and thank you for joining us. I'm Leroy Edu, welcoming you to Sunrise.
Good morning and welcome. Today is December 9. Yeah. How many days to Christmas now?
Well, 2 weeks and a bit.
Days. Which one is weeks?
Two days.
So Igbo people say.
Oh, jeez.
Anyway, okay, they said two weeks. You don't hear.
Plus. Which means that our DSS is drawing pretty close.
Yes,
and
DSS
we have
exactly 2 weeks. After next Saturday, the one after it, that's DSS.
And we have a fantastic package for you.
All of them have been arrested. Yes, make of that what you will. The number one culprit is Alibaba. Yes. He's been fully, completely, absolutely, and entirely arrested.
He's already behind bars.
Yes, yes, right now. And by the way, the January 1st concert of Alibaba is also, so you can win tickets if you come into the studio live. Only if you, well, no, maybe not if you come into the studio.
No, you have to be here for DSS to be able to win those tickets.
No, why? Be nice. This is, Channels Television is a global platform.
So, okay, if you're in Japan, you'll win a ticket to come to a show in...
No, you can win it for someone. Okay. And if you win anything, we can decide to give you, what is that thing that Apple gives out? Gift cards. Yes. And if you have ShopRite, then...
Alibaba, are you listening? You are being committed here.
Oh, no,
I hope you're watching.
I assure you.
Yes, I've been hit by this lack of cash that's happening right now. Have you?
Oh, well, I'm a very techie fellow, you know. We don't do cash.
There we go.
We do transfers, electronic transactions.
Sometimes women want to buy ice cream on the roadside and buy plantain.
And Nico sweets.
And you cannot be sending a lot. You got to be sending a transfer for 100 naira, 200 naira.
Which will cost you 65 naira transaction.
Thank you. So please tell me, what exactly will be the point? So we need some cash.
You know this.
And we cannot get cash because they say we cannot take more than 20,000 naira a day. Why?
I think the CBN needs to...
We're going through this again at Christmas, and Christmas is a time of giving. So where are you going to get the money to give the megad and give the cook and give the house girl who's been good to you?
See only that one.
You want to do transfer for 1,000 and 2,000. Is that what CBN is asking us to do?
I don't think so. I think we need to really find out exactly what is going on. You know this whole conversation about limited cash? To the best of my knowledge, CBN has put out at least 2, if not 3, press statements. Saying there is no need for people to hoard the cash that they have.
They're not hoarding.
Because it is still legal tender. Some people were wary of the old notes.
The old notes are all you get at the ATM.
Exactly. Which is what, the CBN went to ask, the Supreme Court who made it. Look, can we just let this thing on for limitlessly?
So it will still be legal tender on January the 1st.
It will still be legal tender on January the 1st and beyond.
And beyond.
So let people get that, fact. And then, but we now need to speak to the banks. How come a bank that promises you that if you go to your domestic ATM, your transaction is still limited to 20K? In Lagos, yeah, we know there are some areas that even 500 naira they go and collect at the ATM. That's understandable. But those who need to collect more, for God's sake, can someone get... In fact, you said that when you made the announcement to someone, they were like, are you in Lagos?
Yes.
Because even when you asked me, I was like, you asked me, am I in Lagos? Because I don't even remember the last time I used an ATM. Because I'm always wanting to do all this. But your point is valid. So many people want to give cash.
Yeah.
And there are there is nothing that you will do that will make them decide that they want to give electronic transfer in church or mosque.
You cannot be giving tips electronically.
Yeah. So
So you want to give somebody a tip of, say, 1,000 naira. Can you give me your account number, please? so I can transfer 1,000 naira to you.
Apple Pay details. So I think let's the CBN it's the CBN that is in charge of our currencies, right? So please let us know why people, because now I think cash in circulation, while in the Emefiele days it was up to like 3.2 trillion naira cash. Now it's
gone up.
Almost 3 trillion now, almost 2 trillion. And we weren't hearing of this no cash or cash scarcity for quite a while. So what's going on now? Please let the authorities speak to it so that at least people can have some respite.
And thankfully, the first feedstock for the Dangote refinery was delivered, well, in the course of the week, Wednesday or Thursday or something. So that means that we are waiting with bated breath for when we shall be using fuel, kerosene, diesel, petrol from the Dangote refinery. Our own. Tiwa.
And the thing is that
but we don't even know when it's coming out.
Yeah, the thing that I even actually love about us, Nigeria, is whatever it is that is made in Nigeria, we're very, very proud of it. Like, even if you didn't contribute a kobo, the fact that it is made in Nigeria...
Of course. It's Nigeria.
We are very bugacious about it, you know.
When David O and Burna Boy got those nominations...
Everyone was happy, like...
It's our own.
Yes, so I hope we're even supposed to get some feed from there. If and when we're able to do that, we'll definitely let you know.
Right. So to our menu quickly. Absolutely, we're going to be starting with COP28. So we all went on this... so we all went to this conference. I'm not going to use the word jamboree, you know. So what did we bring back? Addressing Africa's needs.
Well, celebrations galore here today, and one of them is the Methodist College, Uzuakoli, is 100. So we're celebrating Methodist College Uzuakoli at 100.
Unusual Praise 2023 by the Catholic Church of Divine Mercy. That will be the next subject. Now,
Nigeria's automotive industry, yes. We want to talk about that one as well. And we've been talking about fuel to gas transition. Let's have some conversation around that.
Fitness during the Yuletide. Oh dear, they're going to come and dampen our spirits again. Okay.
Occasionally, some people can't just live with. Our taste of the week is called X-Buster. We will... Oh, what? Did I say that out loud? Oh, gosh. I shouldn't have said that out. Anyway, we'll have that conversation later on. I shouldn't have... Is that... Well, yeah, fair. So that's a quick... Is that a he or a she?
Shim.
Coming from you, that's rich.
We'll be right back in just a moment. So get your cocoa or your...
Cocoa.
Thank you for staying with us. Joy, if you're just joining us, welcome to Sunrise. The COP28 conference stands as a pivotal moment in the global efforts to address climate change, and its significance is particularly profound for Africa, with a specific focus on meeting the needs of countries like Nigeria. Nigeria, being one of the largest and most populous countries in Africa, plays a crucial role in the discussions at COP28. So the conference is expected to address the specific needs of Nigeria by focusing on initiatives that promote climate resilience, sustainable development, and green innovation. COP28 also acknowledges the importance of technology transfer and financial support for African nations to implement climate adaptation and mitigation measures effectively. This conference, therefore, seeks to establish mechanisms that facilitate the flow of green investments and technology to support Nigeria's transition to a low-carbon economy. Now, to have this discussion with us this morning, I'd like to welcome the Minister of State for the Environment, Dr. Uzuakoli. Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Yes. We also have with us Ambassador Ayola Olukoni, former DG of NASIMA and Director, Nobles Green Energy Limited, Nigeria.
Well, I'm sure we'll get him.
Okay. And we also have Dr. Debisid Araba, Public Policy, Innovation and Strategy Specialist. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you. Good morning.
Thank you. So let me start with the Minister of State, Dr. Salako. So how much support do you think that Africa came away with from COP28?
Thank you. First, let me apologize that I'll have to leave this session in another 10 minutes or so. I have another important engagement by 12:30, and I estimated I need to work for about 5-6 minutes to reach the venue of that engagement. So you pardon me that may take my leave unannounced. With respect to what Nigeria and the whole of Africa is bringing back from COP28, I think that the first and the most important element that is coming out from this COP28 is the Loss and Damage Fund, which is a fund created at the last COP to support countries that suffer the most from the effects of climate change. And it's been well established that African countries are the most vulnerable. Nigeria is one of the top 10 countries that is most vulnerable to the effect of climate change. So Africa and Nigeria is coming back with an agreement on that, and already we are seeing pledges from the polluting countries, I'll call, and we hope that it's going to help African countries and developing countries as a whole to mitigate, to adapt to the effect of climate change.
Well, the challenge is not of the promise, Minister. The challenge is that of keeping that promise. We've asked a couple of guests on the station what the opportunities are for Africa. The opportunities are there, but the promises that COP has made to Nigeria over the years, some are wondering whether or not it's even worth it, given that they're just promises that don't see the light of day. What guarantees can you give your fellow compatriots at this time, Minister, that this one will be different?
Well, first is to say that first the promises have to be made before you can run after it, you know. Yes, in the past, promises are not being kept up to the scale that is expected. It's not that they are not being kept at all. It's just not being kept up to the scale of expectation. Even in this COP28, the pledges are not up to the scale of expectation. I don't think I'm in a position to give guarantees. What I can just say is that with Africa speaking at one voice, which we agreed at the African Climate Summit in Nairobi, Kenya, where we were able to agree on the top agenda for Africa, and we have come here to COP28 to speak in that light as one voice. I think that the pressure is more on the developing world to ensure that they're not just making promises, they are fulfilling the promise. Earlier today, I was in a session where I announced an alliance that is being led by Nigeria, which is an alliance on nature finance. The whole essence of the alliance is to organize developing countries of the world to be able to, in a uniform manner, as a team, put pressure to ensure that some of the promises that have been made to support climate actions are met. So I believe that with the promise, then we have a firmer ground to approach for fulfillment of those promises. But if there are no promises in the first place, there will be nothing to ask for them to fulfill.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned this Ministerial Alliance for Nature Finance, because at that address that you delivered, you highlighted the need to create mechanisms to ensure that what the needful is done in keeping those promises. What are some of these mechanisms, particularly having to work with other countries such as Liberia and Sierra Leone? What are the likely mechanisms to ensure that these promises are kept?
We're putting together a kind of accountability framework, which will ensure that we are able to track the promises and the fulfillment of the promises. We're also able to track how those promises are being utilized, because if you demand for accountability, we must also be accountable. So those mechanisms, because one of the very important elements in also getting these promises to be fulfilled is transparency and accountability. So when we're able to put that kind of mechanism together, we're also in a better position to demand the fulfillment of those promises.
I think we still have 2 minutes with you, Honorable Minister. Part of the conversation that a number of people have had about this particular issue of climate change is that of communication with the people. And I think we've even asked you that the last time you were in the studio with us. Talk to us about communicating climate change initiatives to Nigerians. How easily do they get it, particularly at rural areas, rural communities where these things actually affect them the most? And of course, in urban Nigeria, how are we communicating these ideals to the people? And what's been the reception?
First, I must agree with you. That is one big gap that I have found. The communication is not as robust as it ought to be. The level of knowledge and environmental awareness is still low. Therefore, one of the key priorities of the Federal Ministry of Environment and indeed the federal government of Nigeria is to ensure that we scale up on our communication, we engage on a periodic and regular basis with stakeholders, and we ensure that especially the fourth estate of the realm is carried along. If you see, I have to innovate to be part of this interview because this environment is not created for interviews. So here I am, even sitting outside to grab this interview because of the level of importance that we have attached to ensuring that we are able to communicate what we're doing to Nigerians. So we'll continue to scale up, and I assure you that the Federal Ministry of Environment will communicate better and improve on increasing the awareness of Nigerians.
Minister of State for the Environment, thank you very much, Dr. Uzuakoli Salako. We're sorry to have to let you go now, but we have no choice. We'll just have to continue the discussion without you. Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you for the opportunity.
Now, Dr. Araba, among the things that we brought back was, I do apologize, a commitment for the manufacture of lithium batteries in Nigeria. Of what benefit is that to us, really?
It's a game changer. As we go through the transition, weaning ourselves off dependence. Can you hear me, by the way?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. As we wean ourselves off dependence on fossil fuel and internal combustion engines, and we transition towards electric vehicles, we are going to depend more on these materials that will be critical components for manufacturing batteries, so high-capacity power storage units, both for vehicles and all additional energy needs. And as the Nigerian and other African countries have these natural resources, it is important that we capitalize on the availability of the natural resources to build industrial strategies around manufacturing these components domestically. So we more or less lost out on building an industrial base around fossil fuels over the last century or so, because we were primarily exporting raw materials. And it is imperative that Nigeria, not just Nigeria, but Nigeria and other African countries where these natural resources exist in abundance, build out the industrial capacity, that they improve on the value addition, building out the other components, and ensuring that they're exporting finished high-value products, but also importing the know-how that enables their economies to transition towards a zero-carbon future that we all hope we can.
Doctor, the increased access to climate finance that we're supposed to be getting, exactly from which countries are we going to get it? And exactly how much are we expecting? And what are we going to be doing with the funds?
Yes, this is, thank you very much. This is a rather complicated one. I think it's less about who is giving who the money, more about how we redesign the global financial architecture. And we have seen leadership from institutions such as the African Development Bank calling for a restructuring, a redesign of the global financial architecture. As the Honorable Minister mentioned, we had the Africa Climate Summit held in Nairobi, Kenya, 4th to 6th of September earlier this year, where the African nations came together and unified around common positions going into COP28. By the way, COP28 is ongoing. We wrap up on the 12th. So even though you talk about what Nigeria took away, you still have the Nigerian delegation here in Dubai negotiating the outcome documents. Now, we started the summit with the announcement of seed funding for the loss and damage fund that the minister mentioned. It started with initial contributions of $100 million each from the government of the UAE and government of Germany. I think the size of the fund has exceeded over $600 million now in commitments. We expect that to increase and top over $1 billion in the next coming months. The fund will be managed through the World Bank, and that is supposed to not just support the most vulnerable countries, but also help catalyze this design of more sophisticated financial instruments. We need to be able to leverage more private investment or more private capital to address our adaptation needs to climate change. Globally, climate finance, Africa contributes less than 4% of greenhouse gas emissions. Yet global climate finance, about 3% of global climate finance comes to Africa. So we need significantly more funding coming to the continent, not just in grants or concessional windows, but commercial capital through blended structures, meaning you're combining long-term patient capital, low-interest capital with more commercial. So how do we ensure that the private sector can invest in sectors to ensure that we not just mitigate our contributions to greenhouse gas emissions, but more crucially, how do we adapt to a changing climate? Of course, we're all experiencing the impact of climate change now, where we witness flash floods and all the shocks and stresses, the impacts on infrastructure, housing, and livelihoods. So how do we ensure that we can channel investment into these sectors to ensure that communities can thrive in the face of climate change, but also reduce our net contributions to greenhouse gas emissions? So I think it's a tricky one. There are no easy answers, which is why the world gathers at these COP meetings to think through strategies. We have to get creative. We will try different things. Some will succeed, some will fail. But what matters the most is that we keep trying until we succeed.
Okay. Let me ask Ambassador Uzuakoli this one. By the way, thank you for joining us, Ambassador. Talk to us about the diplomatic conversations and perhaps complexities, if you like, of COP28, or maybe COP generally. How it is that promises are made to developing countries or underdeveloped economies, and for quite a while, those promises aren't kept. Or talk to us about the complexities that Nigerians need to understand as to why some things happen the way they do and why some things don't happen. One of those issues that's been controversial, which I'm
Thank you very much, and I sincerely hope you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Well, I have been involved in the whole question of environment for close to 36 years now. When the Brundtland report came into the United Nations, report of the World Commission on Environment and Development. And subsequently, I also did a master. I was in the Permission, New York, and I was also involved in diplomatic negotiations of the Basel Convention on Hazardous Waste, which started because of the crisis and the problem of cocoa waste. And then fast forward to contemporary times, I also serve as acting permanent representative to the United Nations, to the UN, in Nairobi, in Kenya. So I have a theoretical perspective of it, and I also have a practical perspective of it. It's a tough thing, but of course, these international processes help us. But let me share some small little story to you, to give you practical example, because subsequently I became the Director General of NACIMA, and of course what Dr. Araba was talking about in terms of the question and issue of the private sector. I was involved in the implementation of the Urban Hill Rainforest Program. This was in 1991, when I came back from New York. Then the Urban Hill Rainforest, of course, is a very important aspect. In fact, it's so important that it is described as one of the oxygen lungs of Africa. The Germans were putting some money, about 60 million Dutch mark then, into that. So we traveled together with the German delegation to that particular place. And then I remember I said Mr. Chris Ebre, just about 200 meters before we got to the village, the core forest. He said, can we park here? The Germans were with me, I was with them, and they were supposed to put money into that project. Then we said, why? He said, look, I have to go and talk to the chief of the village and the villagers, because they said they are tired of people promising money and people coming here. And because they said they don't want to see it. So he went. Eventually, when he went, we were allowed to enter the village. I'm talking about Cross River State. We passed through Akampa, the headquarters of the National Forest on the urban hills at that particular place. So we now started speaking and it was done. So the chief of the village said, look, every time they bring, you people come here from Abuja and come here with white people and German. For the Urban Hill Rainforest Program, at that particular period, the farmers were requested to stop farming and they were relocated to an economic support zone. So they stopped, and then, of course, the money did not come. The money did not come for months, over a year. So the people said, no, we are going back into the forest to continue what we used to do. I'm giving this practical example, of course, like I said, I haven't served the Permission, New York, and also haven't served in the permanent mission in Nairobi. Who brought me? I'll give you another example. When I was in Nairobi in Kenya, we had an agreement. We tapped into an MOU between Nigeria and Jeff. Jeff, for example, is the Global Environment Facility. We came, of course, way back 1992. And then the question of implementation now came in. I will now say, what are we doing? So we agreed between Jeff, UNDP, and Nigeria. 5 areas: climate change, CBD, Convention on Biodiversity, desertification, and I think capacity development and a few other things. So I came from Nairobi. I traveled home. I invited people that they should bring in people from the states to come and understand, because sometimes we forget that the subnational level is very, very important. So many of those people came and on the path at the national level is necessary. Because if I give you a good example now, I know that, and by the way, I was supposed to be on grant for COP28. But of course, for various people, what happened. When the tickets were reading 3 million, I said, this million, I will use part of it to do something more, So I didn't go, but I'm monitoring discussion every day, every second. Dr. spoke about, I think, one that we now we talked about, maybe about $800 million beyond 2 days. But we are talking about 30.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
Well, incidentally, we have to wrap this up shortly. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
So I am giving practical dimension in terms of implementation because I work closely with the Federal Ministry of Environment, especially before the Climate Council came. The Climate Change Unit, headed by one Dr. Adejuma, was the one I also worked with. So these are key issues, which, of course, in terms, it's always the question and issues of implementation. I serve as the Vice President of FATE, Fight Against Desert Encroachment. And we'll be making an effort to tap into some of this funds. We're planting a tree in Makuda, in a place in Kano, near Kano. And I know how tough it is. So, well, the promises are good, but beyond the promises, 3 things: implementation, implementation, implementation. Let me say these and now, and I will stop. I want to give a lecture on the environment in Ibadan. In terms of what will happen, we are dealing with municipal authorities. So we invited the Commissioner of Environment in Oyo State. He couldn't come, the PAMSEP came. So when we came, after speaking about the question of reforestation, this was dealing with it, the PAMSEP looked at me. He said, Ambassador, thank you for what you're doing. He said, you know, when we tell our people this issue, and we said there's a buy-in, and that when there's a buy-in, what they need to do is to also put in some money to be able to clear the waste. You know what the commissioner said? They told me that the women in the market are said, we don't use money to buy my money and akara and echo. And then ask us to come and pay again to dispose of the waste. But that's just by the way. But the most important thing is that this international process is important. I was part of the COPs in the past. When I served in Nairobi in Kenya, I was part of, I think it was COP12. And I remember very well a lot of things because, you know, these COPs, all sorts of people are there, like something thousand, as I speak now. And then, of course, the question and issue of implementation. As I speak to you, I'm aware that some agreements have been signed in Dubai. And I know that Nobles Green Energy, which I also work with, and also an NGO thereabout, are signed in terms of the reforestation program in Niger State, then Osun State too also. And of course, about €1 million has been committed. Accessing those funds. Because don't let us forget, there will also be the counterpart.
Ambassador,
funding.
I'm sorry to have to cut you short. I'm very sorry to have to cut you short, but we've run completely out of time. And all I have to say now is thank you very much for joining us. Sorry, we don't have too much time. I know that this is a very important topic, which is why we're talking about it at all. And our delegation is still at COP28 because COP28 has not ended. And we hope that they will bring more goodies when they return at the end of the conference, probably at the end of this week. Thank you very much, Ambassador Ayola Olukoni, former DG Nasima and Director Noblesse Green Energy Limited. We also had Dr. Debisi Araba, Public Policy, Innovation and Strategy Specialist, both of whom joined us via Zoom. And earlier we also had the Minister of State for the Environment, Dr. Isiaq Salako. Thank you all very much. Sunrise will return in just a moment with another interesting conversation. Do stay with us.
I'm Christmasing with you.
Thank you for staying with us. Well, as you can see, the spirit of Christmas is already in the air. You feeling it yet? Well, ask Davido. Now, let's talk about the Methodist College's 100 years anniversary when the Primitive Methodist Mission opened the doors of the Uzuakoli Institute at Uzuakoli in Bende, local government area of Abia State, to students January 8, 1923. I wasn't born at the time. It was doubtful that they could have envisaged the impact that the college will have on its immediate environment and the wider society. The indigenes were not friendly at first and gave the mission the evil forests. Much good has come from that forest. So do we not call it good forest? Well, there's a lot to unpack from all of that, because the reach of Methodist College stretched beyond Uzuakoli. Students enrolled from all over the country and even from the Cameroons. One of the most prominent was Edwin Ogbu, an Idoma icon who was the permanent representative of Nigeria to the United Nations. Clement Isong, some of you will remember him in the Second Republic. He was the governor of the Central Bank of Cross River State. His face is on the 1,000 naira note. Yes, that's him. And then Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Kanu Agabi, was twice Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation. He is from Cross River State. Egbert Udoma is from Akwa Ibom State. He was Chief Justice of Uganda and later Justice of the Supreme Court in Nigeria. Justice Austin Nnamani was from Enugu State. He's a financial expert and a paramount, as well as a financial expert and paramount ruler in Bonny Kingdom, His Royal Highness Say Alabo Reginald Abbey Hart. He is from River State. These are some of the products of the Methodist College.
And you mustn't forget the first Nigerian O&G doctor.
Oh, see? We could go on and on.
Okoronkwo Ogan.
We could go on that list, and quite a number, really. Wow, quite a number. Dates back very many years. Let's have conversations around this morning with Chima Eric Mbubegbo, who is an old student of the Methodist College, Uzuakoli. Let's begin with him. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much.
We also have Pastor Emmanuel Anyele, who is also an old student of the school. Thank you for joining us, Pastor.
Thank you. Good morning.
Okay. Let's begin with you, Mr. Mbubegbo. You must have some extremely fond memories of the school.
Yes, I do really have very fond memories of the school. I joined the school in 1970, which was immediately after the Civil War, the Biafra-Nigeria War. And the school had suffered a lot of devastation. All the documents that we had there were looted. Many of the buildings had been damaged. So we came to a place that was overgrown with grass, filled with animals. But that was a place that changed over a very short period for us to restore the excellence in academia and behavior that has been in that school right from its onset. Let me just go back a bit, because I said I joined immediately after the war. The war itself was a time of importance to that school because it was the main site or the Directorate for Research and Production in the country that was existing at the time. Where we actually had our own oil refinery. We talk about oil these days, but this was actually something that we were able to produce in that school, produce our own soils, produced chemicals that were supposed to be used for antidote for any chemical, if we had a chemical attack during the war. So that was part of our contribution, and many old boys were very active in that process. But let me just go back a bit. You mentioned Clement Isong. I want to perform a little experiment. Anybody in Nigeria now can dip their hand into their pocket and bring out 1,000 naira. And in that 1,000 naira, you see Clement Isong, who is that old boy of our school. What that means, in effect, is that every Nigerian is carrying Methodist College Uzuakoli in his or her pocket or in their bank account. So
I must applaud that.
Yeah, so you can't escape Uzuakoli, whether you like it or not. So we're not just celebrating our school, we are celebrating the nation. Because whether you like it or not, you are part of us. Except the currency is changed by...
At least one thing we can say is that Nigeria is older than your school. So let's also take pride in that. let me ask Pastor Ayele. My apologies. We'll come back to you. Well, Pastor Ayele, I'm sure you also have fond memories of your alma mater.
Yes, we joined the college in 1974, soon after Dr. Chima left. And we're happy to join the same tradition they witnessed. A place for character building, a place for excellence in academics and religion. And we also saw some of the devastation they experienced early in the 70s. It is a place one cannot easily forget. The values of the college, which we hold in very high esteem even till today. So Methodist College Uzuakoli, we usually say it is the first before the rest of the institutions. So it is the best institution anyone can think of, one of the foremost colleges in Igbo land.
All right, well, let me ask you, so let me come back to you, Mr. Mbebe. The school is celebrating 100 years, and let's first of all talk about that because we have very limited time. What are the highlights of the centenary and anniversary celebration of the school, which the old boys are putting together?
Yes. What we are actually intending to do is to have a year-long celebration that starts from today and tomorrow, basically. And what we intend to do this year, apart from having a Thanksgiving service for God having been with us for the past 100 years, we are, going to honor our icons who are over 80 years old. So we're going to present them with mementos. And we are going to, of particular importance is the unveiling of what we think the infrastructure of the place is going to be. Unfortunately, I can't show you that now because it's going to be unveiled tomorrow, where we think we're going to reconstruct the school. And we expect people to actually key into this over a period. And we think that's going to be the start of not only changing the physical infrastructure in the place, but to change the whole ethics, well, not change the ethics of the place, change the curriculum to make it a more forward-looking place. We are not immune to all the problems that people face in Nigeria. So we don't have the kind of resources that we need. But this is what we expect to start today. We have the governor of the state, Dr. Alex Oti, actually coming to the college tomorrow morning to join us in the Thanksgiving service, and we'll plant a commemorative tree. As you know, this place belongs to the college is owned by the Methodist Church. So over the next year, we're going to have a lot of Methodist Church involvement in things. We expect, or we have been told by the president of the Methodist Church that they'll be there next year, to join us in the celebration. So for us, this is a start of a process of a year-long celebration and a lot of activities that we'll be doing, which will include football matches, which will include gala nights, which will include a lot of concerts, because we have people who are, I don't know, well, if you're in the Christian world, you will have heard of Buchiato, who is the product of the school, or Professor Achinifu, who has been helping with Hakot music. So we have a lot of things planned, but this is just the beginning of that.
Okay. Pastor, we will go back to the lineup for the anniversary, but quickly, more and more, the old students of schools have become more involved in the progress and development of their alma maters. What has been the influence, or should I say, the effect that the old boys have had on the Methodist College?
Yes, since the Old Boys Association started in 1948, the Old Boys have been prominent in infrastructural development. And in recent times, various branches, various classes, sets have been coming to the college to engage in one development program or the other. In the last few years, a branch has renovated the castle, the pride of the college. Another branch, an old boy has also done the principal's quarters. Another one has done the chapel. Another set has done the renovated the main hall. These are places anyone that comes to the college would want to visit. And then the laboratories. Various sets have things going on in the college. So we are all doing, another one is doing a dispensary in the college. So the old boys have their influence in what is going on in the college. And what we are going to do today and tomorrow in the college will also afford us an opportunity to get out the master plan for refounding the college the way we want it to be.
So the church service will herald the celebrations tomorrow. Am I correct?
Yes, we have a public lecture today. We have a lecture by Professor Mbao Okoronkwo and other things we need to do in the college. Then tomorrow will be the Thanksgiving service. Thanksgiving service, the college at 100. Thanksgiving service, and after that we go into other old boys. It's a homecoming centenary celebration. We have our normal AGM, which holds every 2 years. So we hold the AGM after the service tomorrow. And just as Dr. Chima said, we are going to honor our icons who are 80 years and above.
So how do you round up the whole event, which is, what you say is a whole year, don't you?
Yes, it's a whole year.
Yes, so, I mean, what do you have planned up for each month of the next 12?
I can't actually give you a month-by-month thing, because that's some of the things that we're going to decide on today.
Okay.
But among the things that we've planned, without actually giving dates, we are going to have a football tournament that will involve some of our peer colleges, like Government College Umuahia, like GMGS, like Opodo. That's particularly important to us because Uzuakoli has been very prominent in football. We had Nnamdi Bukijiwu captain the Nigerian Academicals that beat Ghana 5-1, quite a long time ago. And even the first Nigerian football team, when they were called the Red Devils, had an Uzuakoli member, person there. They traveled, they had the tour of the UK in 1949, and he was chosen as the face of the football team because they thought, he had the bearing, to be able to do that. That was a team that included people like Teslim Balogun and Dan Anyam. So that's one of the things we are going to do. We intend to have gala dinners in several parts of the country, Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, which will be for fundraising. And over this period, we think that some of the structures that we are talking about actually building would have started, so that at the end of the year, we can say, well, these are some of the products in terms of structures that we now have in the school. This is how the staffing situation has changed. This is how the IT department has become. This is how the leadership center has functioned over the new year. Okay. And we will have a major extravaganza in December. It's going to be a 1 week long procedure. And we come from in a place called Uzuakoli that has a lot of tradition, where they have things that are noted worldwide, things like Elaoso and things like that. So those are things that will be incorporated in the 1 week long activity.
We are certain that with what the snippets you're already giving us, it's looking like we just have to keep our eyes open and our ears peeled, because we will not hear the last of Methodist College's 100-year anniversary. Thank you, gentlemen, for being part of our conversation this morning. Chima Eric Mbubegu is an old student of Methodist College, Uzuakoli, as well as Pastor Emmanuel Anyele, also, of course, an old student of Methodist College, Uzuakoli. We wish you all the best in all of the celebrations that you're having. Thank you for being here this morning.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we'll be right back for another conversation. To stay with us.
Thank you for staying with us. If you recall, last week I started the program by asking Ayo if he felt Christmas in the air. And of course, his answer, without even waiting to take a breath, the answer was no.
No, I didn't shout it, I just said it.
Well, you can't say the same this week. Christmas is certainly in the air.
Yes, at least we're on air, and we have played you Christmas music, so it is in the air.
Well, there are other things that will tell you that Christmas is in the air, and one of them is the unusual praise to 2023 by the Catholic Church of Divine Mercy in Lekki Phase 1.
Well, yeah, that will bring Christmas in the air, yeah.
We are counting down to one of the most anticipated praise nights of the year, Unusual Praise. Unusual Praise has quickly grown to become one of the biggest of its kind within the Catholic community in Africa, with explosive and spirit-filled ministrations by megastar acts such as Chioma Jesus, Don Moen, Ron Connelly, and so on. This year's...
Ron Connelly. Connelly, yeah.
Cannoli.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You will just have to pay for that correction. That's all.
Christmas is in the air for him, obviously. He's suddenly woken up to Christmas. This year's edition promises to be an incredible night of praise and worship with gospel acts like Nathaniel Bassey, Chioma Jesus. You know, they'll tell us more about those. Of course, our own dear friend, BJ Sachs, is going to be there. Whoa, this is going to be something very, very big. And one of the objectives of the Unusual Praise is to provide funding, business training, and mentorship for entrepreneurs in Nigeria through the Unusual Entrepreneurship Program. Well, I just threw that in. Our panel will be telling us more about that. So let me start by welcoming them. Dr. Oke Nwoke is the chairman of the organizing committee for this year.
Welcome. Thank you for having us.
Mrs. Ojini Olagere is the chairperson of the Entrepreneurs Committee. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
And Mrs. Tina Oruche is the chairperson for the Ministers and Parish Engagement Committee.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. So, Mr. Chairman, how did this thing come about that is getting so big?
Well, it's been a journey, started from way back. You know, I think, I mean, if you say when it became Unusual Praise, you know, maybe from 2016, but before then, it was a praise night that usually organized by the Catholic Charismatic Renewal in the parish. Initial first one, you know, maybe 150 people, then began to grow, but just still with a very, small group inside the church. Until 2016, when the committee that handled that particular program now, you know, gave it a new list of a totally new idea, you know, going outside the parish, outside charismatic renewal. First of all, it now became a parish event. Before it was just a society event, now it became a parish event. And then that started from 2016, continued each year, you know, it grew each year. As Unusual Praise still, you know, a lot more people. Sometimes the parish could no longer contain it. They had to start looking for outside venues. But then all within Lekki. Then, you know, 2018, another angle to it, you know, unusual entrepreneurship, you know, came into it. We just felt that, you know, and people say when a man is hungry, you know, even to hear to praise God becomes a challenge. So we want to not just nurture ourselves spiritually, we also empower people economically. Then that's the history of unusual entrepreneurship. Then the thing has blown outside even Catholic Church of Divine Mercy. It has become now an archdiocesan event. The whole Catholic archdiocese is now part of it. The archbishop is there physically.
Ouch.
Each year. From last year, he's going to be there this year. So today, we don't longer say it's a program for the Catholic, Divine Mercy Catholic Church. It's now an adjacent event, albeit engineered and convened from the Catholic Church.
Event.
Yes.
Mrs. Olagere, what is the objective? I mean, what was the objective when it started?
When we started, I mean, like he said, for the program, was to create, to bring people to God, to Christ, to bring people to Christ. And like I said, over the years, it's grown. Then it was Catholics, but now you have a lot of other denominations coming in, Catholics and non-Catholics. And last year's one was amazing. It was at TBS, and we had a huge crowd. Yes, I mean, we used to have it somewhere in Lekki, but that became too small for us. Like I said, we've been growing. And so we moved over to TBS last year. And this year's one will also be in TBS.
Madam, when is this thing taking place?
On the 15th of December, 2023. 15th of December.
Friday 15th at TBS, yes. Time?
5 p.m. till dawn.
And from what she has just said, I'm assuming that it is for all and sundry.
Yes. Everybody will be there, Catholics and non-Catholics.
And it is free.
It's open to everybody to attend.
It's free.
And it's free. Absolutely free.
Any registration required?
I mean, not necessarily. We have we have a registration portal just to allow for fast access. Okay. But it's entirely free for everybody.
Is there a website that one can get information?
Absolutely.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Unusualpraise.org.
.org.
It's
just
easy.
like that.
Yes, .org.
Everything I've been made so easy. Access available on the website. Information is easy.
Unusualpraise.org. Now, what are some of the things that people should expect at this conference?
First of all, the first thing goes back to the name. Why is it unusual praise? You know, people praise all the time. Now, because now it's structured in a way that not just, like my colleague said, it's not just Catholics now. So it's a praise involving people, even people that some of them are Muslims, non-believers, coming together. Some of them eventually decide to believe. So it's a fusion of both economic and spiritual, a praise that involves both the economic part of it, the empowerment, and the generally people sing together to worship God. The duration is start from 5 p.m., like I said, till 7 a.m. mostly, and it ends with a mass. So what I used to say to people, a lot of people go for morning masses on Saturdays, some Catholics. So you don't have to plan for that. So like buy one, get one free. You come there, you have your mass at the end. So you have your weekend, all sorted.
Mrs. Olagere, now, the part that interests me is the unusual entrepreneurs part.
Yeah, you can understand why.
Yeah. Now, tell us more about that.
Okay, so like we said that over the years, starting about 2018, we started giving money to to small entrepreneurs. Not just money, but also mentoring and training. So this year, we're doing the same thing. And so what we did in January, we opened a portal where people could go in and register, apply for the grant. It's a grant. Apply for the grant, give us some information. And in August, we had the first training. Because like we said, it's not just giving you the money. We want to empower you. So even if you don't get the grant, you get something back from us. So we had about almost 200 people, about 400 people applied. So in August, we had the first training on business plan, how to write a business plan. Because people just come up and, I want money. What do you want it for? They're not thought through it. So we had a training for them on business plan. And in October again, we had another training for business plan. And like I said, because there are 400 people, and we're looking at giving out about 100 people altogether, we have to have a way of actually pulling down the numbers. And so last weekend, those who attended our business plan, we had sent them also a questionnaire to do their own business plan, to see if they actually have thought through the business. And so they submitted it, and we marked it, and we called them in last week for an interview. So we had about 140 people who came in, and they had a one-on-one interview with the committee members. From that list, we have another short list. And we're going to look at it from which, and we hope to come out with about 70 to 100 people. But the top person will get at least ₦1 million. And today, we're going to have a forum for them to pitch. We have about 11 of them who are asking for 1 million and above. So they'll come and pitch before a panel. We want it to be transparent because we want to let credibility to it. Like we said, it's not just Catholics, so it cuts across various denominations.
Okay.
And also this year, we're also trying to bring in people with disabilities. And so we have a good number of people who have some disabilities. And it's amazing. I mean, when they came for the training and the interview, I mean, some of them came with their wares. And it's amazing to see what they've done for themselves. And like you said, if we can lift them out of this and help them, it will go a long way in sustaining them. So our focus this year, apart from that, is also on widows and widowers and disabled people.
Yeah, so from your experience in this committee, what kind of things are these entrepreneurs thinking of going into? What kind of businesses do they want to set up?
It cuts across. I mean, you have people who are into business like food stuff. You have those
What do you mean
fashion.
food stuff?
So some of them as
they want to
basic as
sell.
plantain. Yes, they're selling.
Okay.
And it's not just new businesses, existing businesses that have challenges.
Okay.
So we look at it. What are you doing? Some are selling food stuff. Some are selling provisions. Some are into fashion. Some are into agriculture. Some are into. I mean, there's one who's doing some sustainable, using cardboard paper to make things. So that it cuts across various spheres of the economy. And so it's actually a big challenge going through them, seeing what they're doing, talking to them, and being sure that if you give them the money, they'll use it for the right purpose. Which is why we said the training is there. I mean, we just had the business plan training. We're going to have other trainings for them.
Are these monies grants or loans?
Grants. They're grants, so they're not refundable.
Maybe I'll add a little bit to that. When she said that
Really?
somebody get 1 million naira, it's not only 1 million. The total sum, even when we did the one in Onisha, this unusual praise has gone outside to Onisha. The one in Onisha, about 10 million naira of that was given. Same purpose, Onisha Entrepreneurship. Her committee also oversaw that. In Lagos, you're going to see between 25 to 30 million again given. It's grants. But the only thing we say we will do, we don't just give them the money to walk away. So total number of people that get about 100 people between Onisha and Lagos. We want to follow them, monitor what they do. The idea is someday later, they'll be part of people funding this same scheme from what they have achieved, because they will be the real people sponsoring it over time. That's the only way it can become sustainable. Okay. So we'll follow them through and all of that to make sure they use it well.
Mr. Ruche, I'm interested in the ministers because she's talking about some sets of ministers who minister through money. But the one you are, which ministers are you coordinating? Because they are also ministering financially.
Okay, so this year, over the years, we've had ministers, top ministers, and this year we even have more powerful ministers coming in. We have M. Revelation, we have Nathaniel Bassi, we have Dunsio Yeko,
Sinach.
We have Sinach, we have Adai, we have BJ Sachs, and a whole lot of ministers. And we've also brought in fresh faces that have never been on our stage before, Dari Justified and a few others. So it's going to be power-packed. And again, interestingly, apart from the external ministers we bring in, we also have the unusual praise ministers, the ones we've groomed. We started from the media praise, we trained them, and then from the media praise, they got on the stage of unusual praise. And they are becoming also big ministers that work with these external ministers we bring. So it's going to be power-packed.
Is there any particular, how do I say this, yardstick, the basis for which you select ministers for unusual praise?
Yes.
I expect you say the Holy Ghost inspired.
Yes, absolutely. Everything we do is Spirit-inspired. The truth is, even before we choose the theme of unusual praise, their prayers would have to go on before we now bring out the people. We come up with names and then themes, and then prayerfully decide on which one to use. So from the start of planning of unusual praise to the final day, in fact, even after the unusual praise, everything is spiritually inclined.
We know that.
Before we pick the ministers, there's a criteria, which is how we want the ministers that will not come there to do shows or to just, I'm coming to perform. We want them to minister. It's a ministration program. So you can get on the stage. The idea is to minister to people, and people would come there and give their lives to Christ, and then decide to say, you know what, I want to remain a Christian. That is the essence of how we do the criteria.
Your word.
Yes.
I think she has never gotten to that point. What we are doing as a unusual praise is not a concert. We'd like to say that. A concert is a show. People come to enjoy it. The person who wants to enjoy unusual praise is God. That's the purpose of praise. He's God that determines whether it's successful or whether it's enjoyable or not. our own is to play a part. Now, so what we do, just to her point, we want to bring people that will help people to worship, lead people to that encounter. So you see the number of ministers that we selected, that's the criterion, major criterion. There are many of them that truly, what they do is they don't sing, they lead people through worships. That's actually a major part of that process. So we are to her point, that's the major criterion that we use, because we are not bringing people to entertain. Yeah, but there might be some entertainment values, but the real purpose is to help people through worship and praise. That at the end of the day, it will be a real encounter with God.
I'll come back to you, madam. Generally, people sing. I've had a bit of experience in that regard. People sing, they get caught on the euphoria of the music, the beauty of the voice, and all those things. What is the objective of unusual praise? I know that it has been stated here, but I'd like you to speak to the core thing that people may not even give attention to for making up their minds to be at unusual praise. What is your own objective? And what should people come prepared with in order for the benefits to really get to them?
Absolutely. So the greatest advantage of unusual praise is not just the praise. Of course, it's unusual because we start from 5 p.m. to praise God. Imagine worshiping God from 5 p.m. to the next morning. Wow. And to make it more powerful, it ends with a Mass. And for Catholics around the world, the most powerful praise is Mass. So with the Mass, people know that, okay, I'm not just benefiting the worship and praise, I'm also going to attend Mass at the same time. So it's a huge experience, and people want to come in there and have that encounter. So for us, when people are coming to unusual praise, the most exciting part is I'm going to end with the Mass, which for us is the highest form of praise. So everybody comes there, and it's not just, we don't just focus on one part of praise. We have the worship ministers, we have the praise ministers, and we also have the ones that worship through ministration, which is some sort of just words. They're not even singing like that. They're using words to capture the souls of people. So it's a mix of everything for unusual. It's actually unusual in every way, from the praises, from the worship to the ministers, and then finally ends with the Mass. So it's a powerful one.
How frequently does unusual praise hold?
Yearly.
Only once a year?
Yes, once a year. But we have a mid-year praise, which is not as big. It's a smaller event.
Unusual praise annex.
No, we call it mid-year praise. We call it mid-year praise. But every December, we have unusual praise. Like I said, said earlier on, we have both in Lagos and Onitsha. So the Onitsha one comes before this. We had Onitsha on the 10th of November this year. It was also a big event.
Why Onitsha?
Well, I guess parishioners support, everything is support. So one of our major sponsors who said, look, I want to stick this to Onitsha. Okay. And he sponsored that one. That's how we started.
Okay.
And
so somebody may get up tomorrow and sponsor
exactly.
I was going to say that now, because we have to go around all the parishes in Lagos to in form of an enlightenment. People have come to us now saying, okay, in fact, a young lady, by the way, what does it take to have an unusual praise in Benin?
Yeah.
I think first of all, we have to have a core group of people, and then of course funding is important because we don't charge people to enter, so people have to sponsor it.
Yeah.
We are getting called for Abuja, so we might in under 5 years see unusual praise in Abuja.
Even UK,
some group in UK are asking, why can't we have unusual praise in London? Even though this is showed live on TV, station, social media, but some people, the physical attendance is never the same as virtual attendance. So. To your question, which attendance, why Onitsha? We're going to have that question again very soon. Why Abuja? Why the UK? Or why Benin? Because people are going to sponsor it.
Well, who says you can't even hold it in Vatican City?
Absolutely. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Mr. Muke, this event is taking place in the evening overnight.
Yes, please.
Should people worry about security?
Absolutely not. All the security architecture of Lagos is deployed. Support from Lagos government as an institution, all permission, call it police, call it manual, call it both the military and the paramilitary. People are going to come there before the event to do bomb, just even check for explosives, just in case. So, and everything is the entire security architecture is such that, I mean, I was there last year, you wouldn't even know that TBS that you're going into. You won't see the typical, even the vigilante, local vigilante, who ideally are also mobilized, they're going to provide security. So I've never seen the kind of security architecture that we are putting in place for this. Of course, with the support, total support of Lagos State government and all the agencies within. So we told people, come, walk freely, enjoy, have an encounter, which is what we're inviting people to. You go home, you won't even know. If you come there the next day, you will not know, was it the same TBA that I was the next day? Because everything has been, well taken care of.
Okay. Well, just to be clear, the website again is unusualpraise.org.
Yes.
You can go there now, see their information that you might really need. Let me ask you, Mr. Chairman, who is hosting this event?
Hosting? Okay, I would say Catholic Church of the Divine Mercy is hosting it on behalf of Lagos Archdiocese of... but the bishop, the Archbishop of Lagos is Grace Adeola Matches. He's going to be there physically from 5 p.m. till 7 a.m.
Okay.
So it's actually an Archdiocesan event, but of course hosted by Divine Mercy under Vicar, Monsieur Pascal Mwezap.
Is there a reason that Unusual Praise is hosting towards the end of the year?
Well, usually things start their other programs in the early part of the day, and of course, usually as you're about to get into the new year, it's always good to go into the new year with, like the theme of this Unusual Praise is, sing a new song to the Lord. So whether the economic challenges are having, good.
But you can sing a new song in June.
No, I mean, by the time you get to December, you would have become old.
So you want to sing a new song into the new year.
With all hope and all optimism to go through whatever comes, because God would have prepared us for that.
Now, for those who are going to be attending for the first time, what are the things you would advise that they should be wary about? Prepare their minds to see. There's something they call culture shock.
Yeah.
If, for instance, Unusual Praise is a very quiet meeting.
Yeah.
People, when you praise God gently. Some people who are used to shouting,
especially Catholics.
Some people are going to have
growing up. I mean, the Catholic Church, you could hear a pin drop.
Yes.
You went in and you communed with God.
Yes.
And
that is why this is unusual.
He's not there.
This is unusual. This is unusual.
Okay.
That's why it's Unusual Praise.
Okay. So I'm just saying that, is there a culture shock that some people will be getting?
No. It's actually the other way around. There are a lot of young people who want to have a taste of that, be themselves, even shout, dance. We have them come with your dancing shoe, come ready. When there are no security issues, you sit, you come early, get a vantage position. I mean, have you can see whatever happening from wherever you are, but just come ready to dance. There are no issues on the security side. Like she said, maybe come for a paradigm shift. This is not the... I mean, you can go to the Holy Eucharist and also worship God gently, but this one is making it unusual.
Make a loud noise unto the Lord.
Unto that.
Madam, let me ask you this. People of different demographics and generations are going to come. And as she said, there are those who, when they want to worship God, in fact, I was at an event when this fellow was trying to introduce the service. He said, let's go have fun in the presence of the Lord. And somebody came and took offense. That there is no such thing as having fun in the house of the Lord. You come to God, you come very gentle.
Solemn.
Well, I shut the guy down because I haven't seen that. Otherwise, the joy of the Lord is your strength. Make a joyful noise unto the Lord. You don't make a joyful noise very quietly, but I don't know. So for those who are going to be coming, it sounds to me like a bridge of generations, right? For those who are not used to noise, and for those who are not used to gentility, where is the bridge?
Thank you. When Tina was talking, she talked about the ministers ministering in various ways. So some are going to be ministering by talking gently, some will talk a bit louder, some with music. So it fits into, so whichever generation you are in, you'll find yourself comfortable. Because others will be talking gently, talking, not really singing. Some will be singing loudly. Some, even their songs. The songs vary. Because as ministers, they sense the mood of the crowd.
Yeah.
And they're able to sing appropriate songs. So I don't doubt everybody will be comfortable. I mean, last year was awesome. And at TBS, it was really, there are times when there are solemn moments, the music is lower, it's mellow. And there are times when you really have to praise God. And you're out there dancing, jumping with your tambourine and all that. So everybody will have their, will fit in perfectly into there.
You've talked about the Mass as being the
highest form of
crescendo.
praise.
But what would be your own highlights for anyone who has to be there? She has talked about the money part. I know that's a major highlight, but maybe not, essentially. The main focus is to worship God and all. What would be for you a major highlight that anyone who comes to Unusual Praise 2023 should not miss?
So for this year's Unusual Praise, like in the previous years, we have, like what we were talking about the ministers just now, she mentioned different type of ministration. So for example, someone like Judunam, who is a Catholic praise minister, would come and sing hymns. Someone like M. Revelation will come and jump around the stage. Saxophone, BJ Sax will come and give us a sax, and everybody all over the place jumping around. So if you're coming to Unusual Praise this year, you will come with an expectation that I'm not just coming to just dance and praise God. I will see people being empowered too. Right on stage at the Unusual Praise, we have the people that have gotten the unusual entrepreneur people on stage to receive their money. So everybody sees how we empower people. And some other persons in the crowd will be encouraged that, wow, I'm not just coming to praise God. Or next year, I might even be one of the people that will get on that stage to win money for my business. And again, we have prayer times too when you have to pray. Intercessory prayers, not just for the people there, for our country, Nigeria, for so many intentions. And then we have the talks, the time when the Monsignor will come on stage or the fathers. So a whole lot will happen.
You choose your highlights.
You choose your highlights. You choose your highlights.
Before you ask your question, just on that, given that it's an evangelization program, the real highlight for us generally is seeing thousands of people, when they call to give your life to Christ. It's answered. People digitally send messages, and then the follow-up continues after to get them through the process. So that's actually the major highlight from that evangelization standpoint. So they show over 1,000 people. In Lagos, let's say 1,500 people or more, and then we expect that kind of number again this year. So.
How is this program funded? Don't worry, we will not
by
ask,
people like you. By people like you, sponsors. We get people, big ones, the corporate sponsors, individual sponsors, our friends. Everybody that knows me now, anyway, just I don't have it, I would have been asking even though that we're on stage now to give me 50,000, 100,000. That's how we fund it.
We have already given you money by being here. All these questions that we're asking, you think it's free?
Oliver Twist, we're asking for more.
I can't see Oliver Twist on the list of people that are in this situation.
So people funded by voluntary contribution. There's some people also have the commitment, beginning of the year, they say, I'll give X amount, and they give it every month, that's how they want it. Some companies come to sponsor, even though they say, because they're a faith-based event, they don't want to be associated with a particular faith. We show them unusual entrepreneurship. We cannot have a problem with that, so they also sponsor. So we look for different people, individuals and corporates.
Do people have to pre-register, so at least you have an idea of how many people to plan for?
Not necessarily. We do that especially for the transportation. We bus people to. Some people cannot pay to travel from parts of Lagos to TBS. So you actually get sponsors and get buses.
So where are the buses going to be?
In different parishes.
Quickly.
All the different parishes. They have
in all the parishes in Lagos?
All the parishes in Lagos.
Some of them are itinerary. So 3 parishes they have a central itinerary.
Yeah.
So they register to use the bus.
Okay.
Like this year, we're going to send out about close to 100 buses.
Okay.
Around those, So that's why that registration is also needed. So you know how many buses to provide. The rest can come on their own.
Okay, otherwise you don't need to register to take part in it. But if you want any more information, you can go to unusualpraise.org.
Absolutely.
And it's taking place on the 15th at the Tafawa Balewa Square. Yes. And it is free.
Absolutely. Just in case you don't know where Tafawa Balewa Square is, it's TBS. Just say.
Thank you very much for coming. We've been talking about the Unusual Praise 2023, and we had the members of the organizing committee led by the chairman, Dr. Okeunwoke, the chairperson of the Entrepreneurs Committee, Mrs. Ojini Olagiri, and we had the chairperson, Ministers and Parish Engagement Committee, Mrs. Tina Oruche, come in to tell us more about this event. Once again, it's holding on the 15th, which is Friday, at TBS, Lagos. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
And Sunrise will be right back after this timeout.
Well, that conversation has actually started. Conversation around Nigeria's automotive industry transitioning from fuel to gas-powered engine. Of course, all of that talk about energy transition that you've been hearing, some understanding will come, because the National Automotive Industry Development Plan in Nigeria is a strategic initiative designed to create an enabling environment for manufacturing Nigerian-made vehicles of international standards. The plan aims to boost the automotive sector, enhance local production capacities, and reduce dependency on imported vehicles by encouraging domestic manufacturing. The government seeks to stimulate economic growth, create employment opportunities, and bolster the nation's technological capabilities. Let's have this conversation with the Director General of the National Automotive Design and Development Council, Mr. Oluwemimo Shanikpe. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Well, let's begin that conversation with that challenge. First of all, maybe we should ask you, from where you sit as DG of NADCC, what are the issues you are contending with? Let's begin from there.
The first issue we are contending with generally is about acceptance. We need Nigerians to accept that the automotive industry in Nigeria is growing, and we are producing quality vehicle that will be compared to what we get in other parts of the world. So that's first of the challenges that we are confronting. The other one has to do with infrastructure. The assemblers in Nigeria, they need to produce vehicles that will be competitive. And for it to be competitive, it have to be input also have to be competitive. So for us to be able to be competitive, we must be able to produce at a lower cost than what is being brought in from other countries. So this is part of the challenges we are facing here in Nigeria. And then we all know what we are facing with FX, because some of the components are still being brought in, and they are denominated in USD or other foreign currencies. So these are part of the challenges. And again, we are trying to move from fossil fuel to like electric vehicles. All this one, electric vehicle come with the different challenges that are unique to electric vehicle, because they are based on development of some specified infrastructures that have to be compatible with the use of EVs. So these are part of the challenges. Again, I need to mention finance. The finance is because of the cost of finance in Nigeria is a bit high, and that means finance is part of the challenges we are contending with.
DG, when you say that acceptance is one of the challenges you are facing, that sounds very strange, because since President Tinubu came on board and announced that subsidy on petrol had been removed, Nigerians have been waiting and eagerly for other options so that they won't have to buy petrol at 600 or more per liter. So this should actually be welcome news to Nigerians.
Yes, it's a welcome news. As I'm talking to you now, a lot of our members, that is NAMA, the Nigerian Automotive Manufacturers Association, a lot of them have started bringing in kits. They've started doing conversion. So this is a welcome news because this is an opportunity for us to not only convert the existing one, but start producing CNG vehicle right here in Nigeria. And that's why I said acceptance, because by the time we know that what we are getting here is what you are going to get in elsewhere in the world, everybody will now ready to accept that Nigerian made vehicle is of good standards, qualities, as well as what we get in other parts of the world. So this is what I mean by that. But it's a good development that we are moving from PMS power vehicle to CNG power vehicle. And a lot of Nigerians are interested. Our people, when I say our people, the manufacturers, they are doing their best in converting the PMS fuel vehicles. When I say vehicle, not only motor vehicle in that way, we have tricycle, we have motorcycle. All these ones are being converted as we speak.
DG, if vehicles are being converted to CNG, for instance, this implies that there would be space to carry the gas, which will power the car, right? Is that correct?
Yes, there will be space to power. Yes,
so for a motorcycle, for instance, what's going to happen? And for cars that have small boot spaces, what happens?
Yes, yeah. The cylinder that each of the vehicle carry depend on the type of vehicle. So a bus, the type of cylinder a bus is going to carry is different from the type of cylinder a small car is going to be carrying. And it's different from the type of cylinder that a tricycle or motorcycle is carrying. So for every type of vehicle, there are going to be specified type of cylinder. So it's part of what the regulatory framework, it's part of regulatory framework we are trying to put out, and pretty soon those regulatory framework will be released. We are working with different with different agencies that has to do with automotive, a lot standard with SON, with gas with NNPC, and we are working with all this, even the presidential initiative of CNG, we are working on coming out with the framework. But when the framework is out finally, we are going to see that different kind of vehicle have different specific type of cylinder and specific type of kit that suits each of the category of vehicle we have on the road.
Okay, the compressed natural gas, which will be the lifeblood of this project, where is it going to come from? And is it going to be in abundance enough to fuel our cars? Well, our vehicles, let me say.
Yes, the Nigeria is blessed with abundance of natural gas. So, as of today, we produce natural gas in Nigeria, and we are working with Nigeria mainstream and downstream authority. They are working on that to provide the gas. They are the one regulating that aspect for us. They are the one regulating the aspect of provision of gas, storage of gas, and dispensing of gas. So they are handling those areas that has to do with gas. But as of today, Nigeria has abundance, has gas in abundance. We only need to provide some other infrastructure which they are working on. As of today, the piping gets to Ajaokuta, and from Ajaokuta we can still extend to other parts of the north and other parts of the south. So we won't have much problem in getting the CNG and getting the gas across to motorists.
Is it the same gas which is being flared randomly, especially in the south, in the southern part of Nigeria?
Yes, yes. I won't say being flared because the gas is the same gas, but we are now working on getting all this gas so that we can use it now, because now we have use. We have use for the gas. Now that we have use for the gas, the intention is there for us to now use that gas for more productively than flaring them, than flaring it.
Okay. Well, one of the when I asked about challenges the other time, one of the reasons is because in the 70s, I think, the federal government at the time kind of made a policy that government officials would only drive made-in-Nigeria vehicles, whether made or assembled in Nigeria vehicles. We had an automobile plant in Kaduna, automobile plant in Lagos, and a few other parts of Nigeria at the time. Recently, we understand that the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment spoke about why the federal government won't or may not patronize made-in-Nigeria vehicles. Is this something that you are aware of, want to clarify for us?
Let me clarify that. The minister did not say federal government will not patronize, because in that speech, she explained all the measures put in place to encourage local manufacturing of vehicles in Nigeria, as well as to boost patronage, and which she enumerated a lot of measures put in place to support local assemblers and manufacturers. So during the question and answer, a lot of things came up, and part of it is, yes, we want our local assembler to grow, and as we are growing, we need to provide after sales care. And for us, for every, she mentioned, she was not even speaking about the federal government alone. She was speaking about the generality, the total populace. Everybody that wants to buy a vehicle, we need, the people have in mind the kind of vehicle they want to buy, the quality of vehicle they want to buy, the price they want to pay for the vehicle, and what should be available as after sales care. So she's now encouraging and advising assembler, yes, we want to patronize you. Yes, federal government will patronize, state will patronize, individual will patronize, because that's the only way you can grow. You cannot grow based on the federal government patronage alone. You cannot grow based on state government patronage alone. We need the patronage of the entirety of the populace. That's the government, the individual, the private sector. So, and for us to be able to push this thing the way we are pushing it, and we must be able to provide all this. Make sure our price is competitive, make sure our quality is top-notch, make sure our after-sales care is available. Because people will not buy if they are not sure where the parts will come from, if they are not sure where they are going to service their vehicle. That was the advice. It was just an advice.
Yeah, but it still goes back to the same question of whether or not the federal government, I kind of repeat that, is encouraging. As I said, it has been a policy of government before in Nigeria. And it wasn't just one government. After the Gowon government, I think the Murtala Mohammed government also sustained that policy of the federal government, and the Obasanjo government that followed. So how helpful will it be, particularly these days when everyone is saying that Nigerians should tighten their belts, but meanwhile a good number of people are still aghast with the fact that the legislators, national and state houses of assembly, want to buy certain vehicles for 160 million naira. Meanwhile, we're aware that there are some bulletproof army, military-grade vehicles made by innocents are being bought by an African country for their military. How helpful do you think it will be for the federal government to make that policy for federal agencies alone? I mean, ministries, departments, and agencies of the federal government alone to patronize Nigerian vehicles on the one hand. On the other hand, is the Nigeria automotive industry ready for that kind of challenge?
Yes, we are ready. Let me state that as of today, federal government and its agencies are patronizing locally made vehicles. Just as you mentioned one of the assembler, and the same assembler is being patronized by a lot of agencies, including the security outfits you mentioned. So what we are saying is that we can do more. So it's not that they are not patronizing. Government agencies, parastatals, federal government, they are patronizing, and they are really giving us a lot of support. A lot of support. So what we are now, that's part of the reason where the minister made that advice and tried to encourage. Apart from this, let's have everything that an organization, for example, may need, or what an agency may need, so that by the time the agency needs this thing, we will have them available. So, and then not only are we going to have them available, we are going to provide the necessary after-sales support that we enhance or encourage anyone that wants to play in that field. As of today, we are getting the patronage of the government, we are getting the patronage of the agencies, and we know we can still do more to promote the market. That's part of what we are working on.
Well, let me ask you if you have figures to certain requirements. For instance, how many vehicles are imported into Nigeria on an annual basis? And what is the capacity of Nigeria's automotive industry to meet that need? For instance, I don't know. So maybe you want to give us how many vehicles can the Nigerian automotive industry produce in a year, and how many are required in a year? For instance, maybe the number that are imported. How many vehicles are Nigerians buying on an annual basis? How many can the automotive industry in Nigeria produce from that number?
As of today, the assemblers and manufacturers in Nigeria have a capacity to produce, on the average, 400,000 vehicles per annum. Though, unfortunately, we have not been able to even do, 5% of that. This is 5% of that will have been about 20,000. We have not been able to do that, and it has to do with some of the challenges we mentioned. As at 2022-2021, the average vehicle that come into Nigeria then was about 500,000 per annum. So which means that this wide gap, which we have not been able to bridge. So we want, and that's part of the reason why we are putting a lot of measures in place, so that we'll be able to bridge the gap between supply and the local supply and the demand for vehicle in Nigeria. But again, some of these vehicles also are used vehicle, that is pre-owned vehicle that are coming into the country. So the predominancy of pre-owned vehicle in Nigeria is one of the major challenges that we are facing.
Regarding this transition, DG, what infrastructure investments are planned to facilitate the establishment of CNG refueling stations?
The CNG refueling station is going to be private driven. When I mean private sector driven, just as normal PMS filling stations are private sector driven, the relevant government authorities or agencies are going to lay down the standards and the process that involve storage, delivery, storage, and then the dispensing. But apart from that, it's going to be the private sector driven. So we are talking with relevant authorities who are supervising the filling stations. So we don't envisage most problem in that regard. By the time the vehicles are on the road, we have more of it. As of today, we have some filling stations right here in Abuja that are already dispensing CNG, where people drive in, buy their CNG, and drive out easily. So by the time we have more, there will be more investment in that regard.
Are there any such filling stations in the Lagos area?
Yes, I think we have in Lagos area, but not as many as that will be able to service the Lagos motorists. So again, just as I said, private investor will always go to where the demand is. By the time we have a lot of CNG on the road, by the time we start having CNG on the road, you won't be surprised to see a lot of filling stations, existing filling stations that will now be having a dispenser specifically for dispensing CNG. A lot of them are already working on that, and I don't think we are going to have much problem concerning that. Okay. And some part of the country, for example, in Edo State, we have a lot of filling stations dispensing CNG in Edo State and in Anambra State.
Okay. How would you assess the awareness of this transition? What I mean is that are the people adequately informed of this transition? In light of what you said at the beginning, that one of the challenges you were facing was acceptance. Do you not think that the acceptance is not really coming because there isn't enough awareness? If we're all aware that number one is going to be cheaper for us if we use gas instead of petrol, and we're also aware that in terms of how it affects climate change, that we will easily, embrace this.
Okay, we are also working on the awareness side of it. That's the sensitization of the populace. But the job is even easier now with the price. Everybody is aware that it's cheaper to power your vehicle with CNG. Mm-hmm. The price ratio that is far the gap is so wide that is encouraging on its own. So a lot of people, a lot of motorists are already aware of that, and it made the job of sensitization easier. Then the other thing that we are pushing, we are trying to let people also realize is that of what it has to do with environment. CNG is the cleanest of all the fossil fuel we have. So when you look at all other fossil fuels, CNG is go-to because you are going to reduce the emission by a minimum of almost 50% compared to some PMS we have. And with that, it have its own effect on the environment. So the sensitization is on, and luckily with the price of PMS, it makes it easier for everyone to embrace it. We are pushing for it. We still do more of sensitization, even with the assembler, to let it so that put it across there. I have chat with some of them, and I also told them the assembler also need to put it out there, let the people know what they are producing. I was in one of the assembly plants, a manufacturer, and I saw the kind of vehicle they have already manufactured. One of them is a luxury bus that can go on a full, that luxury bus has about 18 cylinders, and those 18 cylinders can move from Port Harcourt to Sokoto, according to by the time you load all the 18 cylinders. So it means we have a lot to let people know, because we need to sensitize people. We are working on that. I've discussed with them. These things that we produce in Nigeria, we need to let Nigerians know what we have and the solution we are providing for the problem the challenges we are facing now, especially as it has to do with the price of PMS.
Well, there's so many questions to raise with you right now, Mr. Shanikun, but we're out of time because I'm wondering, for instance, the kind of collaborations that could help, in ensuring that, the NADCC is able to meet the required quota. Other countries that produce these vehicles, they have met their own quota and surpassed it before they can say, okay, they want to sell some of those vehicles out of their country. I mean, you name the manufacturer. There are even some new entrants into Nigeria, and I'm wondering, for God's sake, how is it that we don't have the skills or whatever it is? So I'm wondering the kind of collaboration you would need, for instance, with maybe, maybe a CBN. I don't know if that's within their remit. State governments, whether they can pitch in, have some kind of collaboration with all of these agencies, and including petrochemical organizations. I don't know, but, maybe some other time we'll be able to have this conversation with you both. We have to thank you for being here this morning. Mr. Oluwemo Shanipi is the Director General of NADCC. Thank you so much for your time this morning, and all the best.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. We're back in a moment to talk about something Alara doesn't really like talking about. But we will talk about it after this break.
Mamito, 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 love you from now till finito, make you my only chiquito.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for staying with us. Now we've got to that part.
Yeah.
What do you have to say for yourself? Thank you. Yes, we've come to that part of the program that has me worried all the time and puts me in a vile mood because I'm going to be told now that I shouldn't be eating biscuits.
Who would dare say that?
And I shouldn't. Well, the fitness person is here.
No.
And you were talking about how to keep fit during the Christmas period.
Especially when you're going to be eating things you're not supposed to eat.
Well, of course. Like my sister-in-law always says, Christmas is the time to eat. And then we can start our diet in January. We can start, say, around the 15th of January. Then we can begin to diet. But in the meantime, please, let me eat and enjoy my Christmas. But they say, okay, you have to keep fit as well during Christmas. You have to be fit. You have to do all kinds of things. You cannot just take a few days off and indulge because it is Christmas.
Oh, you can indulge.
Anyway, I'm hoping that Mr. Joel Ozamere, CEO, Institute of Registered Exercise Professionals, is not going to be telling us that kind of story today. Good morning.
Good morning.
And you can see from my face that I'm very aggressive this morning.
Yeah, and it's great to see you. You're looking wonderful.
Great to see you.
Wow.
It's not so great to see you.
Yeah, wow. You're looking smashing. You've been, your diet has been looking,
you have been
like you've been keeping to your diet.
You have been deserved.
I mean, you're looking awesome.
Woman, once they say you're looking good like this, everything.
Would someone please tell him to stop?
Yes, you were saying something.
Patronizing me.
No, I'm not. You were then saying something. You said something before about what you should do during.
Let me eat. Please.
No, you eat. You eat. Please eat. No, you eat. No, most definitely. You should eat. Actually, you should eat.
Okay, Christmas is coming.
Yes.
And you all say we still have to keep fit. Look at you.
No,
which means that round the clock, round the month, round the year, you are keeping fit.
Yes, it's called lifestyle. You are the one that said that it is lifestyle.
I told you guys. I told you that he was coming here to upset me.
I'm agreeing with you. Everything you said, I agree. You are the one that said that even when it's Christmas, we should still exercise, eat healthy, eat properly. I agree. Now, should you eat Christmas? Yes, there should be chicken on your table. There should be wonderful things on your table. But it's the same principle. It's a lifestyle. You enjoy, those meals that you have to, that you want to eat, and still move your body, still, dance. There are a couple of things that happen in Christmas, anyway, that is good for us and is some kind of exercise. So Christmas is a good time to stay fit. and to just keep living that healthy life.
Pause.
Yes.
Christmas is a good time to do what again?
To stay fit and just keep living that healthy life. Wait, what exactly are you eating or doing that you're worried about? Let me hear. I said maybe I'm thinking about another Christmas.
She just told you.
Thank you.
How can I maintain my fitness in spite of the Christmas cake, Christmas pudding,
this is awesome.
the whole works?
All the table that has been set before you.
Thank you.
So let me say something.
Thou preparest a table before me.
You know, all your family members who have traveled or are abroad in school, they all come back, isn't it? So everyone is around. So this is a time to, you know, have like an outdoor setting, or even in your, and everybody is discussing, play games together.
Cook out.
Yes, do different things together. And all those activity, it's part of fitness, that you are busy doing different activities. All of you take a walk together, come back together, grill your chicken and your fish together. Yes, you are in the kitchen and you are gisting together.
Did you hear that?
You have to do all those things together.
He says, take a walk together.
Yes.
You can sit down in the garden and have Orishirishi puff puff, hot puff puff is coming off the fire behind
yeah, but
you.
I
the
agree.
barbecue grill is working beside you, and he's talking about taking a walk
after
together.
you've done all that, just take a walk together.
Take a walk
Yes, thank you. So it's
You know.
man is with me. Now let me say this to you. Now there is
hot puff puff.
There is no month that you should stop living a healthy life.
Yeah.
It's like there's no month you should stop taking in oxygen, isn't it? So the way the human body is the human body, whether it's January or it's December.
Okay.
So I'm not saying that this December, you know, just stay at home. When you see chicken, let it pass you by. When you see turkey, let it pass you by. No. I'm saying this is a great time.
Okay.
To do many other activities that you've not done before with your family.
Okay. I know that it is difficult because the table is set and it contains all kinds of wicked things. Wicked things that are just trying to make you commit sins. But there must be a way that you can do all those things and still not feel bad. I mean, make your conscience feel good.
Not feel bad.
Yes. Well, that you are still
trying. Yeah. If I had the answer to that question, I think I'll be richer than Dangote. Because if you eat all you want to eat, and after eating everything you want to eat, you then want to...
Maybe not all, Sha. Eat small.
Yeah. So my point is this, really. When it comes to festive seasons like this, you can't really stop those soft drinks that usually maybe you won't take. You're not able to stop eating things like cake or small chops. Those things will come around. Now, because fitness is a lifestyle, because it is what you put in that you get out, because you want to live longer, and there's a difference between just being alive and living, okay? Whether you're 60, 70, you're 50, 60, 70, it doesn't matter how old you are. There's a difference between living and just being alive, okay? And if you want to be living and not just be in one place alive, they are doing everything for you, you cannot throw away your health, okay? And so during this period, what to do is to say, what are the fun ways that I can enjoy myself with my family and still ensure that I keep fit? Because if all you do is eat, sleep, and repeat, by the time it's January or whenever you're resuming back at work, first of all, you will not have enough energy to perform efficiently at work. You will come up with all sorts of stuff, and then you begin to feel, how do I start this journey again? But if you can be disciplined during this ember period, especially this December, then being disciplined in January, February, and March will be easy. The truth is this, there's always a reason to indulge. From birthdays to, you know, great news, stuff that has happened, to maybe, you know, your friends come together, there's a naming somewhere, and there's a wedding somewhere. There's always a reason to eat and do all that you want to do, but you must keep that discipline and ensure that you eat. So one of the things I'll say is this. if everybody is taking a huge portion of cake, because you are watching your health, and you know that you may still take another cake tomorrow, for instance. Okay, maybe you are going to different places. You take a smaller portion.
Cube size.
No, I didn't say cube size. Don't make it look that bad. you take a smaller portion, okay, and then you try to stay away as much as possible from anything that is sugar. There are quite a lot of other things that you can take. Now, I said try. Now, reasons being, everyone with his ability or what you're able to do. There is fresh juice, for crying out loud. There's yogurt. There are things that are actually healthy that you can take. The question is, do you want to do that? Or do you want to just say, you know what, it's December?
Is yogurt healthy?
Oh, yes, it is. It's
natural yogurt.
Yes, of course. Not, you know, when they tell you are drinking mango juice, I ask people to check. What you're drinking is something else. You know, but when I'm talking about natural stuff. It's very healthy. I'm not a nutritionist or anything, but I know it has probiotics and it's good.
Everything that you have said, I don't think Alera agrees with 5%.
No, she does.
But, oh, well, she will listen to you because you are the expert. It doesn't mean that she agrees with you. But, you know, there's something that you said earlier about taking a walk and all those other fun activities. Alera doesn't want to hear that. I can get it, but it's, you see, that consciousness of routine is it gives you a somber feeling.
I'm being picked upon. Stop picking on me.
Well, as we were saying, Mr. Uzamere, even I'm picking on someone. It's not easy keeping a routine that you want to escape for a little while. What should be the motivation? I mean, you go to gym every day. You have to do some of these activities.
Do you go to the gym again on Christmas Day?
You know, and then you have to do 10,000 feet, 10,000 steps a day, and all those things. I thought you just want to take a break. Oh, man, this thing is killing.
I just tire.
Okay, let me say this. Now, the gym, I've said it here before, is not the only place you go to get fit. Being on a treadmill or in a group workout session, it's not the only time that you burn calories. There's something that fitness professionals use to calculate the amount of calories you use based on activity. So if you have a fitness trainer, if he's certified, he will be able to use what we call MET value, metabolic equivalent, to kind of calculate the amount of activities you've performed doing different other things, apart from that special prescribed session that you have with the trainer. And so, and that is why anyone that is exercising and is doing something that they don't love, they will stop it before you know it. That's not lifestyle. That is you just trying to take some drugs so that you feel better and then you stop taking it. It's just the same way you take a medication when you're not feeling well. The minute you know you're feeling well, some of us don't even finish our antibiotics now, and we just, because we're feeling better. And so if that's your mindset...
Sounds like you're a culprit as well. Go ahead.
You know, if that's your mindset with exercise, the minute you get a bit of a goal set, maybe you done 5 kg or you sleep better and all that, you just say, please, I can't come and heal myself. But if it is not that, you know, you're not after that quick fix and you are looking at your life as a whole and you actually want to live a healthy life, you are thinking not just about yourself, but people around you, you're looking at maybe the organization you run and different things that you do, and how your life will be of a blessing to your children or whoever is around you if you live better. Okay, instead of living a kind of life where everybody has to support you, there has to be one child in the house, or you know you can't work as effectively as you should, or you don't want to spend money on medical things. Different things should motivate you, but my point is you should do what you love. That's where I'm going. So if, for instance, you love playing table tennis has a metabolic equivalent. It has a MET value. So what the trainer would do during this period is that he knows that the training will not be as regular. We even have clients who travel abroad for their holidays. We know that the training will not be as regular, but what we do is then speak to them about all the activities they'll be performing and encourage them to maybe visit Disneyland or visit somewhere. You know, take a walk in maybe Madrid or something. Just because when you walk around like that, you're actually also exercising while you're having fun, while you're eating. So these are the things that a good fitness trainer will be able to help you with and say, okay, during this festival, what's the plan? What are you going to be doing? Say, I'm going to my village. Oh, fantastic. You're going to be eating. People cannot be eating and then you're looking at them. I'm a fitness buff. Obviously not. But what activities are you putting into that whole trip that is making it more fun, but still you're keeping to your
lifestyle?
Yes, your lifestyle. You are exercising. So that is why I said things like, you know, when you have family around, there are things you can motivate each other to do. Okay, because you know that exercise is as important as the breath that you take. You can't say, I won't do without it. What to do is to say, how do I go about it in a fun way where everybody is involved? I'll give you another last example. For instance, there's this game called Wii. I'm not trying to promote anybody, but you know what Wii is, yeah? So you have that kind of game. For me, that's what the young ones should all be playing, all the cousins, taking turns to play lawn tennis and boxing and different things on that game. It's such fun. And whereas there's so much activity being done while you do that. You can move that also even to games, family games, that you have chairs and different games you're playing, dancing competition, and different things like that you're doing. Taking a walk to go and see your father's land somewhere. The point is, if you do not plan these things, you will come out of this whole period regretting, okay? And you don't need that, okay? So these are the kinds of things that a good trainer or a lifestyle coach will sit with you and say, okay, what are you doing? What are your plans? Okay. And then one of the things you can also do is to calculate, is try to find out, okay, I know I have done this much. And then when I get back, this is what I'm going to be doing. But so that, because you cannot just become big in 1 month. That's the reality.
Okay, so.
But you can pick up things that after that December, you will forget that it's no longer December. Okay. That's the point.
So, Christmas Day.
Yeah.
A lot of women spend Christmas Eve cooking.
Yeah.
Because family time, everybody's coming around on Christmas Day. So you start your cooking the day before.
Yeah.
So Christmas Day, you wake up in the morning and you just tidy up on your cooking. Everybody comes, and what do? You sit down and eat with everybody else.
And chats, yes.
Nice little portions, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Boxing Day, what do you do?
Yes, so it's the same thing. Now, the whole day is not, so, I mean, it's not because one deserves it, it's a privilege, but I know what you're talking about. But the point is, you're not always eating. When you have family around, you're not always eating.
Always, because there's food around you all the time.
This is my point. Okay, so this is what I'm trying to drive out. Boxing Day is you're still in the festive season, and so there is food. But you are not eating every hour of that day. That's the reality.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is, the times you will eat. But what are you doing with the rest of the day? If what you're doing the rest of the day is sitting down as I am doing right now.
Okay. It's not really that you are eating, is it? It's about what you are eating.
Yes, agreed. Yeah, so let's put it this way. Because at the end of the day, this is all he said, she said. Okay?
Conjectures.
Yeah, conjectures. We don't really have that perfect scenario to explain this. But what I'm trying to say to you is, even during Christmas, if food is cooked, it is still food. It's still better food than eating snacks and just, what we do usually in the office is still better. It's actually still better than that, where you're just snacking on popcorn and drink and maybe a sausage roll or something, and you're not eating a meal that is prepared. Yeah. So it's not like all Christmas food is bad food. No, it is that during Christmas it's a special meal. The jollof rice is really nice. The fried rice is really nice, and there are snails and different things on the table that you can eat. It's luscious, and then someone has squeezed juice somewhere, and there's also apple juice somewhere, but there's also Coca-Cola somewhere. And so because I am health conscious, I will eat the rice, I will take my chicken, yes, I will also take my orange juice, and I'll take my dessert. I will eat my pudding, or I'll eat my yogurt, or I'll eat my cake. Now, I've done that. I've eaten with everybody. We've chit-chat. I will then, after that, I would then ensure that I'm not living a sedentary life after eating thereafter. So I then look for fun activities with my cousins or with my family that will help me to move. So for instance, if I'm in a place, you know, maybe Ibadan Express Road or something, maybe you go to somewhere there, I will go to an amusement park and say, let's all go. We'll take our children in, they will be in there while we talk, chat, and just discuss. Or we take our children to the closest football pitch while we're standing, while they're playing, and we are standing, and maybe we're just chatting, or we find a table tennis there and we are playing. The issue, the point here is, you must be deliberate about your lifestyle.
Your body must be mobile.
Yes.
Your hinges, your joints must be moved.
Let me give you an equation. When we say met value, so when you have a trainer, for instance, if a trainer tells you that a met value is 5, that means that that activity is poor. Sitting down, for instance, is 3. Lying down is 0.
Ouch.
Okay? Now 5 means poor.
Okay.
From 6 to 8 is fair. Is, you know, and then when you move from about 8, 9 to about 12 thereabouts, is good. Where you want to be is between 12 and 15. Anything above 15 minutes, it's now excellent. That means that you are exerting energy. You're actually putting pressure on your body to achieve a particular fitness goal. But the truth is, just taking a walk is around 11 to 12 minutes.
Okay.
Now, playing table tennis, is above...
It's only 11, 12?
Yes. Now, I'm talking about a stroll, not a...
No. Brisk walk.
No, of course. At that point, you have moved to the 12s and the 15. And table tennis is more than that. Okay?
Lawn tennis?
Of course. You know what lawn tennis is. It's way past all that. These are high met values, okay, that most people wouldn't do. So we're not even going there.
Even the most people that are doing it, they one sitting next to me. When was the last time?
Picking on me again.
Don't do that.
He's picking on me again. He's picking on me again.
Let me just ask you this question. Now, I'm glad you mentioned certain demographics in certain ways. You talked about, taking kids to a football game. You've talked about, their uncles and aunties that can just stand around the field and all of that and pick up 1 or 2 activities themselves. How about couples?
Fantastic.
Is there anything you would recommend for some of them, especially those who have sent children to grandma? And they're just going to be by themselves. What would you recommend for them?
So this is also going to be just conjecture, because everyone will prefer something different every time.
Okay.
So if you're talking to a couple, one of the first things we train our certified trainers to do is to speak to the clients about what they love doing. Now, if I know what both of you love doing, let's say, for instance, one of the couple doesn't know how to swim. Yeah? And the other one knows how to swim. This holiday will be a good time for both of them to spend a couple of days in the pool teaching the other spouse how to swim. Now, that whole activity is a lot. Any form of activity in the pool, because of the reasons. Yeah, over 12. Where over 12? Now, the reason why I say over 12 is because it depends on what you're doing in the pool. You get the point. But my point is, because the water is resisting your body, you need more energy to push. And because the water is cool, your body temperature doesn't increase, and so you just feel good. It's when you come out, maybe the next day, your body's now feeling like, wow, okay, I did something. Okay? So, but
it's a little ache here.
But it's very good. So you can see how, when you have a qualified trainer, someone that knows what he's doing, he then sits with you and says, we've been doing all this workout all this time. You're about to go on holiday, both of you. This is what you can do. And the person can then calculate what that met value will be, and even actually tell you the amount of calories you will burn if you do a 15 minutes routine in the pool, or you do a 30 minutes routine in the pool, or it is 1 hour you spend in the pool. And you know the thing about the pool? You can stay there for 2 hours and you don't know. It's when you now start to feel hungry that most people get out of a pool. Okay? And so when you come out, usually in that setting, you want to ask them that they please take her to where they sell fish. Take her to where they sell Chinese. There are meals that are not cheap, but they are event, for occasions that are very good and still helps you to be careful about what you're eating and all that. So for couples, it will depend on what their budget is, where they can go, and what they love doing.
Do they have to go out?
Fantastic. So they don't have. So let's say, for instance, They say, you know what, I'm just going to be in this house. I'm not going anywhere.
Why is she looking at me? Why is she looking at me?
I'm out of this conversation. I don't know anything.
Exactly.
I don't know. Please go ahead.
I agree.
Yeah,
you were saying.
So, they want to stay at home. So if they are maybe a client of mine, and I wait for them to be my client or a client of someone, it means that they are already health conscious. So it means that they are not planning to just watch TV all day.
Let's imagine that they don't even know anything about all this whole exercising thing.
Yes.
You see, the challenge that you understand that we have in the world is people just want to indulge.
Wait, sir.
Just a second.
Okay.
People just want to indulge because soft life.
I know. I agree.
You know, I mean, stressing this one, that. I have been going to work every day of the year.
Okay.
Soft
Let me
life.
rest.
Okay, fantastic.
So, but now they're a couple. Now they don't want to go out, but they want to at the same time, as you said, pay attention to their lives. And they want to live old together and everything. So they don't know anything about exercising, about staying fit and all of this, but they are conscious of the need. They just never really put it somewhere.
Okay.
So if they are able to do it from such a busy and distracting time as the Yuletide, maybe they'll pick it up as a lifestyle.
I agree. And I think that one of the things you've said is that you've been able to bring your question in some kind of conclusion. And what I want to say, which is, but I didn't want to scare her because when I came, the first thing she said was, he has come again, you know. But let me say this to you. Let me say this to you. What do you think is the biggest pandemic in the world? COVID?
I've not listened
it's not COVID, by the way.
No, I've not listened to the World Health Organization.
It's NCDs, non-communicable disease. Lifestyle disease are the biggest killers globally till today. The pandemic was a joke. So when I'm talking about these things, well, I'm not, just trying to make your life miserable. I just want you to be alive. Because there are people that who have paid, they were ready to pay all that they have. To pay, just to stay alive during the pandemic, yes or no? You are rich men who got COVID, isn't it? And they thought money could buy health. And then before they knew it, they were gone. So these conversations we're having, you say you want to be together with your wife. The question is for how long? If you want to be together with your wife and your plan is that
you will sit together inside chair
when your grandchildren
and be watching TV.
Your grandchildren will not be cleaning you up. You'll be carrying them up and you'll be flying all over the place, taking care of them. If that's your plan, then you have to prepare for that plan. Part of the preparation for the plan is that during this season, you and your wife, apart from other parts of lifestyle, don't forget, we have discussed this before, that health is holistic. There is the mental wellness, there's the financial wellness, there's the social wellness, yeah? So you should read the book, for instance. You guys should talk about the things that are going on maybe in your office. Talk about your children, talk. But as you're having that gist, you can put on 2 sneakers and be strong. Even know your area. Know where you are even living.
You're right. Some people don't even know their neighbors.
Walk. So I'm sorry I don't have an antidote to exercise. If I had some kind of, replacement, come and buy this bottle. When you just drink it, do. Oh, you exercise. Oh, my, la. That, I'm a big boy. But it doesn't exist. And all I can motivate people and encourage people to say, you have to move. However you want to move.
But how about some people say that beside gymnastics, they also talk about bedmatics as some kind of exercise for couples.
This is Channels Television, your home for the news. Please stay tuned as we now interrupt our regular programming to bring you a live coverage of Achievers University's convocation for the conferment of honorary degrees, admission to first and postgraduate degrees, and presentation of prizes. Stay with us.
This is a live Channels Television event.